Dr. Bloom was born in 1916, grew up in New York City. He later lived in Newton, Massachusetts, and Otisfield in Maine. It was in Otisfield in 1921 that the future Dr. Bloom began spending summers at Camp Powhatan for boys on Pleasant Lake, founded that year by his father, Ira, a teacher in New York City schools. Dr. Bloom was a World War II vet, a PT boat officer. After the war, he would become director of Camp Powhatan in 1947, and in 1951 earned a PhD at Columbia University. His dissertation was on interest-motivated camping, in which campers select the activities they want to participate in. Dr. Bloom would remain director at Powhatan until 1999. Along the way, he raised money for camp scholarships, helped Governor Ken Curtis found the Camp Susan Curtis Foundation, which provides camp experiences to the disadvantaged. And in 1993, he helped to create Seeds of Peace on the grounds of the campground in Otisfield. For a lifetime of helping children mature and have fun at summer camp, we welcome Dr. Joel Bloom into the Maine Jewish Hall of Fame, accepting the award for Dr. Bloom, his son, Mark Bloom.
On behalf of the Bloom family, it's a great honor to accept this Maine Jewish Hall of Fame membership for my father, Joel Bloom, who owned and directed Camp Powhatan, a summer camp for boys on Pleasant Lake in Otisfield. Given that Powhatan closed 26 years ago and that my father passed away 14 years ago, it is very gratifying and very humbling to see that present here today are some former campers, counselors, co-directors, and friends of Powhatan. And since they're all here today, they all know that, knowing about Powhatan, that one of the things you never want to have to do is be the speaker that follows Tim Wilson. But I'll do my best. My father lived a life that was immersed in and dedicated to summer camping. For him, this began in 1921, when at age 5 he was a junior camper at Powhatan, started that summer by his father, Ira Bloom, a high school teacher and athletic coach in New York City public schools, and also a member of the Brooklyn Technical High School Football Hall of Fame. Every summer after 1921, my father was a camper, then a counselor at Powhatan, until the string was broken by his World War II naval service as a PT boat officer. After the war, my father returned to Powhatan, becoming its director. He also returned to graduate studies at Columbia University, where in 1951 he received his doctorate. As mentioned, he wrote his dissertation on interest-motivated camping, which posited that camper selected activities rather than administratively selected activities would provide the most beneficial summer camping experience. His ideas were in sync with emerging progressive education concepts that took greater hold in the 1960s and the 1970s, and he became a leading voice in progressive summer camping. While Powhatan drew its campers primarily from Jewish communities in and around New York City and Philadelphia, my father believed that summer camping was an experience that should be made available to children of all racial, religious, and socioeconomic backgrounds. He therefore started a scholarship fund which enabled campers from diverse backgrounds to attend Powhatan. He also sought diversity in his hiring of counselors and administrators. In 1971, my father helped Governor Ken Curtis start the Susan Curtis Foundation to provide summer camping to disadvantaged Maine children. In 1993, as mentioned, he assisted the journalist John Wallach in starting Seeds of Peace, a camp to empower young leaders from conflict regions with leadership skills to advance reconciliation and coexistence. In that effort, my father was joined by today's keynote speaker and former Powhatan counselor, head counselor, and co-director Tim Wilson, who went on to become the longtime director of Seeds of Peace, in addition to his many other professional achievements which you have all just heard about. Seeds of Peace continues to operate today on the site that was once Powhatan. My father also served in leadership positions in the summer camping industry. He served as president of the New England Camping Association and of the Maine Camp Directors Association, and as vice president of the American Camping Association. After his retirement from camping in 1996, my father turned his focus to the preservation of the lakes of Maine, serving for many years as president of the Pleasant Lake and Parker Pond Association. During my father's long career in camping, he had many excellent collaborators, but I think there were three that he would have especially wanted to recognize in receiving this honor. One would be Mr. Tim Wilson, about who we have already heard so much, and it's all extremely well-deserved. Another would be Dr. Fontaine Piper, who now lives in New Jersey and is unable to be here today. The third is Dr. Stanley Walzer, who passed away in 2014, but whose son John and daughter Liz are here today. I thank them all for coming. I think my father would have wanted me to say in closing that his primary concern was always the camper. He believed that whatever affected the camper should be important to everyone. He believed that children's experience at camp could affect their future, and because children are our greatest asset, our country's future. Thank you. Thank you very much.